Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, like this movie doesn't have a bigger. I mean, it's really more of an ensemble movie than a Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
And it's not a bigger ensemble movie, a bigger ensemble than say the Avengers or X-Men. But at the same time, like I kind of feel like a Spider-Man movie should be about Peter Parker as the one guy alone, in the universe, and like it shouldn't be this sprawling epic of where Harry Osborn and Gwen Stacy and the Rhino and Electro are getting just as much screen time as Peter Parker.
Well,
but what say you guys?
My thought was Electro was so cool. Jamie Foxx, his character is kind of pitiful.
Yeah.
And obsessive and crazy at the beginning. Yeah, he does make you a little uncomfortable, and I think that's the point. And then, but you kind of feel bad for the guy. Then he gets turned into this thing, and he's still, that little shred that's still left of him just slowly just snaps. It's gone. And he's so cool. His powers are cool, the way he talks and how his presence is really awesome. But then we're going to bring in Green Goblin. We're also going to have this other thing with Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker, while Peter Parker also goes and does this. It's just, there were so many moving parts because the new thing is world building, and I was like, honestly, if that movie was just Electro, I would have been fine.
That's what I've read, is that the movie is less a movie and more a PowerPoint presentation about this is what Sony's going to do with the rights to Spider-Man over the next decade.
Basically, it kind of is.
Which, it didn't work in Iron Man 2. They were only selling, they weren't selling anything specific. They had plans, but it was mostly just S.H.I.E.L.D.'s still a thing. Remember S.H.I.E.L.D.? They're going to be a thing.
This is Black Widow. Hi.
And it didn't work as well then.
I don't like that. So they removed the focus away from Peter Parker in the second Spider-Man?
Yeah, it's really more about setting up kind of the new Green Goblin and the other villains for their spin-offs.
Okay.
And, it's...
I just feel like we could have taken out the Rhino.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like what I really liked about the first Spider-Man movie is that the Green Goblin is not Harry Osborn at first. Harry Osborn's just his friend. It's his dad who's the Green Goblin.
Yeah,
because that's how it was in the comics.
That's how it's
exactly.
And
then he's like, oh, guess what? Spider-Man killed my dad. I hate that guy. And this one, it's like they did the same thing, but we're just going to condense it into a half an hour. And I'm just like, you know what?
It was weak.
Yeah, it just didn't work. I feel like if that's going to be your main villain, if that's going to be your Joker to your Batman, set it up. Take some time. There's no need to rush. If you got the movie rights, people are clearly paying to see it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but it's still just, I felt like they rushed so much. They put too much in it, and that's why I didn't really care for it as much.
Okay, another one of my films to see in a second run.
Yeah, maybe at the Avalon for 250.
But that was my thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I am the original Spider-Man trilogy, the Sam Raimi movies. Those were what made me want to be a film critic and a filmmaker.
They're part of what made me want to read comics.
Me too. The first Marvel comic I read was a Spider-Man comic because I saw the movies and then wanted to read the comics. And it's with the first Amazing Spider-Man, I felt okay, this is a major come down, but I can live with it. And now I feel not only is this a major come down, but there's not a shred of the old Raimi magic, lingers.
The first Amazing Spider-Man, it's been a while since I saw it, because I saw it in the theaters once and never again. I might revisit it at some point, but my thoughts on it were, this is them trying to build their own identity as a Spider-Man movie.
They want to distance themselves.
And I appreciate that.
For sure, yeah.
But they have no idea what that identity wants to be.
Yeah.
They want to be the cool, slick, new Spider-Man, but they don't know how to get that across, and
I like the Spider-Man more than the Tobey Maguire one. Only because...
No.
I know.
I think Andrew Garfield's a good actor, and I think he would make a good Spider-Man if he had a better script. Definitely.
I like the Spider-Man a little more, only in the sense that Tobey Maguire's just so heavy and sad all the time. Garfield's
Spider-Man, his uncle died.
I'm not saying that we should lessen that, but I mean, he's really moody. All the time. And let's face it, Spider-Man is the guy that swings in and says stupid catchphrases sometimes.
Well, that's true.
Tobey Maguire doesn't do that. And this one kind of does. I expect Garfield to go swing in and say, hey,
I feel like there's
thanks for hanging around or something. Like, oh, okay.
There's definitely two sides to it. And there's the Peter Parker aspect, which is like this dorky, awkward teenage nerd. And the Spider-Man Spider-Man side of it, which is high-flying, swashbuckling adventure. And I guess, like, the old Spider-Man the Raimi movies got the Peter Parker parts down right. That's hard to say.
The Parker part down right.
And the new ones have, I guess, maybe the adventure better.
Yeah, he's having fun. That's the one thing I do like about it. He goes, I'm Spider-Man, and yeah, I have to make terrible, tough decisions, but you know what? There's a lot of fun stuff about being Spider-Man.
There's another dimension to it, too, though. Like you mentioned, Peter Parker is a nerd. Like that's why I always liked him, because he was an outsider. And Andrew Garfield he's such a great actor, but frankly, he's too cool. He's too handsome. He's too slick.
You don't get him being a nerd.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire. I like.
He does science sometimes, and maybe he has trouble talking to people. But
and women until he gets bit by a spider.
Whereas Tobey Maguire,
it's a metaphor for puberty.
Tobey Maguire, from beginning to end, he stays like a nerd. He stays weird and awkward, and it's that's a Spider-Man I can relate to. Whereas Andrew Garfield, I feel like he's good, and I feel like he has captured aspects of the character, but I kind of feel like he's the Tony Stark Spider-Man. You even get him playing with some holograms in the first one, and it's Stark Jr., getting trained by Rhys Ifans, to imagine the mansion in Malibu he's gonna build with the money he makes off these patents.
I don't know. I've spent kind of a lot of time with Spider-Man reading that series. I feel Andrew Garfield actually captures Peter Parker more than Tobey Maguire. I just felt like Raimi's it's a little campy in the way he portrayed his universe. So I think Peter Parker in that series it was a little just too campy, I think.
I actually think it was a bit darker though, because I think it was more campy and darker because the violence is actually a lot more brutal in Sam Raimi's films. There's a scene where the guy who killed Uncle Ben slams his head through a window, and you would never see something like that in the Andrew Garfield movies. I definitely think they were more campy, but because you had cheesier costumes, kind of cheesier bright colors. But I think there was a bit more depth and emotion as well. It's a two-hander,
I definitely think I agree with Mo in the sense that Tobey Maguire, he definitely feels like an outsider. Everyone treats him kind of terrible.
Sure,
you're like, wow, you feel really bad for this guy. And then even after he becomes Spider-Man, he's like, yeah, I don't really know how to be a human in the real world. But then he puts on the suit and he's like, he feels a lot better. He feels more confident, but you can't go to school with Spider-Man. But then you kind of get Andrew Garfield as the nerd. When he's at school, it's like, yeah, people pick on him, but he's kind of an asshole too at times. He's a little bit.
That's what gets Uncle Ben killed in the Amazing Spider-Man. Is not Spider-Man tried to use his powers for personal gain, and he was punished for it. It was Spider-Man was it was Peter Parker being an asshole. And Uncle Ben
get off my case, Dad.
I wish my real dad was alive to yell at me.
He comes off as very whiny.
He is. He's kind of a brat, and then he's like, well, I guess I should be better.
It all happened because he couldn't pay for his milk.
He didn't pick up Aunt May. How dare you?